December 2002, the end of another year. I don't remember anything special about it, but I did read a lot of media tie ins, but a few books in here that aren't. So stick around for those gems. Those of you who are tired of hearing all the media tie ins, flipping ahead. Yes, there's still media tie ins, but not as many. Looking at the next couple of months, we're going to have some wonderful books coming up. But for December 2002, some good books. Not saying they're bad, but still a lot of media tie ins. And I started off finishing up the 7-book series that I started in November of 2002. Read the last 2 books in December. So the first book, Tribe Novels, Silver Fangs and Glasswalkers by Carl Bowen and Tim Dodopoulos. I think that is how you would say his name. Based on White Wolf's Werewolf the Apocalypse series, a bunch of different werewolf tribes. Each of these 7 books has 2 novellas featuring 2 different tribes, but telling this overarching story of the werewolves fighting the Worm, W-Y-R-M, which is a toxic entity, essentially, that's destroying the earth. Werewolves are very tied to nature, Mother Gaia. But in this one, I was actually able to find some information. The Silver Fangs features a character named King Albrecht, and he's going to Europe, where the main worm enemy is. So he's going to Europe to bring all the werewolf tribes of the world together. And the Glasswalkers, we have Julia Spencer, who is, I think, back in the States, trying to do her part. That's all I've got. But that's Tribe Novels, Silver Fangs and Glasswalkers, Carl Bowen and Tim Dodopoulos. I followed that up with the final book in this series, Tribe Novels, Black Spiral Dancers and Wendigo. And essentially, this is just the final battle. The Black Spiral Dancers are generally insane werewolves, I believe. Guru, as they're called. But you know they're gonna bring something crazy to the fight against the worm. And then the Wendigo are, I believe, a Native American tribe of werewolves. That would make sense. Perhaps even Canadian. But somehow they're bringing up the rear in the books for the final fight against the worm. Did I say Eric Griffin and Bill Bridges wrote these 2? So that's Tribe Novels, Black Spiral Dancers, and Wendigo by Eric Griffin and Bill Bridges. I enjoyed the whole series. I like the werewolves in World of Darkness, and they still have some of the best covers. Absolutely love the covers. Now, for a moment, we're going to step away from media tie-ins, because the next book I read was Shrink Wrap, R-A-P, Shrink Wrap by Robert B. Parker. This is a Sonny Randall novel. Not a Spencer, not a Jesse Stone, but a Sonny Randall, who is a private investigator in Boston. And there's a best-selling author named Melanie Joan Hall, who's on a book signing tour, but she needs a bodyguard, essentially, because her ex-husband is causing problems. And things happen. Sonny Randall, obviously, is the one who gets hired as the bodyguard. Some things happen at a book signing. Sonny Randall decides she needs to figure out what's going on and go undercover, so she goes into therapy. The ex-husband is a therapist. So Sonny Randall goes into therapy. So there's going to be the mystery, or is the mystery, but also we're going to dig deep into Sonny Randall's personality. I like the Sonny Randall books. I mean, it's no Spencer. Spencer's the best. But I like the Jesse Stone. I like the Sonny Randall, the other stuff. I like pretty much everything Robert B. Parker's done. So that's Shrink Wrap by Robert B. Parker, a Sonny Randall mystery. Now, you're going to hear this author's name and think, how is this not a media tie-in? But it's not. This is an original novel. This is The Alien Factor by Stan Lee with Stan Timmons. That's how it says it on the cover. Stan Lee with Stan Timmons. So the alien factor, of course, Stan Lee, Marvel, comics, Spider-Man, and all that. Everybody knows who Stan Lee is. But the alien factor is a novel that takes place in World War II. I think it said 1942. But an alien spacecraft crashes on the bad side of the war. So the Nazis get a hold of the aliens and their technology and are hoping to use it to, bring the war to a quick conclusion in their favor. So, of course, the Allies are going to send in some special forces people. A group called Logan's Losers are heading over to try to either rescue the aliens and their technology, or destroy them before the Nazis can use them. And then the Russians are also sending somebody, and there might be a traitor in Logan's Losers. So, pretty interesting. Stan Lee would write something. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right way to say it, but interesting that he would write something not superhero or comic book related. It's possible it was written by Stan Timmons and they put Stan Lee's name on it. I don't know, but it's a great idea. I don't remember how well this book read, but I like the idea. It's something, if I came across it again, I might read it again just to see if it was worth it. World War II, aliens, all sorts of craziness. So that's The Alien Factor by Stan Lee with Stan Timmons. After that, back to the media tie-ins. We have Lucifer's Shadow, edited by Philip Bowl, however you say his name. This is based on another White Wolf Publishing World of Darkness game, Demon the Fallen. Or is it Demons? Demon the Fallen. So, in Vampire, you pick a vampire clan, and each clan has different traits. You're playing vampires and werewolf. Pick a werewolf tribe. Each tribe has different traits. They're role-playing games. So in Demon, it's all about fallen angels. There isn't as much stuff out for Demon the Fallen, so I don't know as much about the worlds. But this is a short story collection. I think it's all in Los Angeles, and it's 10 or 12 stories exploring the world of Demon the Fallen, these fallen angels who have come back to Earth. So demons on Earth. Much darker, I would say, than the other. Maybe Wraith, the ghost one, is pretty dark because you're following dead people. Now you're following demons. I mean, vampires, whereas it's a world of darkness, but demons is probably the darkest they've gone. But if you're interested in, stories of, again, demons or fallen angels on Earth mixing with humans and having battles between themselves, something you might want to check out. Lucifer's Shadow, edited by Philip Bowl. I'm just going to say Bowl. All right, now we've got a trilogy, another media tie-in. So we start off with X-Men, Doctor Doom, the Chaos Engine Trilogy, Book 1 by Stephen A. Roman. And in this book, the X-Men have come back from another dimension where they were having an adventure. They get back to Earth, and it turns out Doctor Doom runs the Earth. And that's the way it's always been? Question mark? And so heroes and villains have either been subjugated by Doom or are now working for Doom. The X-Men, mainly Angel and Psylocke, they seem to be the main thread throughout this trilogy, but it's all about getting the world, wresting the world away from Doctor Doom and turning it back to what they believe it should be. Their memories say, hey, this isn't the world we left. Followed that up with X-Men Magneto, the Chaos Engine Trilogy Book 2 by Stephen A. Roman. And now, after defeating Doctor Doom, well, Magneto now is in charge. Turns out, this is no spoiler, I don't think. This is all revolving around a cosmic cube. For those who don't know, the cosmic cube in the comic books is, well, a cube. I used to have one. Um, Basically, it's a cube of infinite power. You can completely change reality. Um, for those who might recall the controversy when it was revealed that Captain America was a Hydra agent, that was all because of a cosmic cube. So, X-Men Magneto, the Chaos Engine trilogy, Magneto has the cosmic cube and has made a world where humans and mutants are equal. That doesn't mean things are good. So, again, I think Professor X and Psylocke feature in this one. They know that the world isn't the way it should be, and so they're trying to stop Magneto, put the world back the way it's supposed to be. And then the last book in this trilogy is X-Men Red Skull, the Chaos Engine Trilogy Book 3 by Stephen A. Roman. You know Red Skull's going to be the worst. Yes, Doctor Doom is a dictator. One of my favorite villains. I have a couple Doctor Doom statues right over there. He's a dictator, but he's not. It's not the worst. Like, he runs Latveria, his country, with an iron fist, but it's to make it a better country. He wants to run the world to make it a better world. All that's in air quotes. How about that? Magneto, wants mutants to be treated properly. It's surprising, perhaps not accurate, because these descriptions in these that I look at aren't always accurate. Generally, it seems that Magneto feels that mutants are superior. So it's surprising that it's not a world where that's the case in the second book, that mutants are above normal humans. But again, for him, it's not about world domination for world domination's sake. It's for making it a better place, for mutants anyway. But the Red Skull's a straight up Nazi. And so in the third book, again, Psylocke and Angel trying to put the world back to the way it was. The Red Skull has the Cosmic Cube, and I believe he's the comic book character most associated with the Cosmic Cube. And he basically the Nazis won. The world is run by the Red Skull, by a Nazi regime. Mutants are considered the worst of the worst. Exterminate them. There's sentinels out there. Nightcrawler gets a pass. He's still mutant scum, but he's a German. So he's working for the Red Skull. Storm is in Africa. She's twice as bad. She's a mutant and black. Ugh. And I think she's had her powers taken away. There's a lot of power dampening going on for the mutants that can't be killed. At least tamp down their powers. So Angel, Psylocke, again, trying to put the world to rights. So regular viewers will know how much I enjoy alternate histories, alternate takes on characters. So I really like this, even though I'm not a huge X-Men fan. I don't actually hate them, but I prefer the Avengers or even the Defenders, not that Netflix group, the real Defenders, the Champions, things like that. I don't hate X-Men, and I like to see these just different versions of the world that the X-Men have to fix. So, very enjoyable. I wish I had the books. And I thought maybe it was in one of the more recent omnibuses, but it's not. So, I don't have them. All right, after that, we have a nonfiction book, The Simpsons Beyond Forever, created by Matt Groening, and edited by Jesse L. McCann. And this is basically just an episode guide to seasons 11 and 12 of The Simpsons. with all sorts of synopsis of the episode, guest stars, character profiles, just all sorts of great, interesting behind the scenes stuff about The Simpsons. If you're a fan, back then I was still a fan. All right, next up, I got a little story to go with this one. We have a mall in my town. It's dying a slow death, but back in the day, like when I was a kid, we had two bookstores in that mall. There was a B. Dalton and a Walden Books. B. Dalton disappeared, but Walden Books was there for a long, long, long time. It moved locations within the mall a couple of times, and it eventually became a Borders Express, I think is what it was called. And one day, when I was visiting the mall to go to the bookstore, there was this guy sitting out in front of the bookstore at a table with a little stack of books on it and nobody around. Terrible. So I stopped and I chatted with this guy for a while and I bought his book. And that book I read in December of 2002, and it is The Plantation by Chris Kuzneski, if that's how you say his name. It turns out, I think this is the only thing I ever read by him, and I enjoyed it well enough, but it turns out this is the first book in a 9-book series, and it's controversial. So, The Plantation is about people all across the United States going missing, and this one young lady in particular goes missing. Her boyfriend, Jonathan Payne, isn't going to take this lying down, teams up with his buddy David Jones, and they try to find out what happened to Payne's girlfriend, and it leads them to a huge, shocking twist, which is where the controversy comes in. Not the fact that there's a twist, but what it is. Hard to say. I don't want to tell you what it is. I don't want to tell you what the twist is, but it's something I can understand why there might be some controversy around it. Looking this up I did not need to look this up for the plot. I remember it. I enjoyed it. I remember the basic plot of it. Didn't remember the characters' names. But if you look this up on Amazon, there are a ton of blurbs. Did not have blurbs when I bought it and read it. But it's blurbed, great positive blurbs by, there's just some of them, James Patterson, Lee Child, James Rollins, Douglas Preston. I think Nelson DeMille might have had one on there. But it also shows that this is the first of 9 Payne and Jones books. Had no idea that there was an entire series. Don't know what else Chris Kuzneski has written. I just remember buying it at the Borders Express and Midway Mall and reading it and enjoying it. There's no particular reason I didn't read anything else from him except that this was brand new when I picked it up. I don't think those blurbs were on it. And I don't know when his next book came out. I may have forgotten about him, stopped looking for his work. Can't say. But The Plantation by Chris Kuzneski. I'm really interested in maybe rereading this. Craziness. I have too much to read. Oh, and that was the penultimate book for December of 2002. I was thrown off because I had accidentally written something, and it's crossed out, but just glancing down, I didn't realize. So, Plantation was the penultimate book. The final book I read in December of 2002. Here you go, folks. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Little Things by Rebecca Moesta. Pronunciations. So this is a book that takes place after, spoilers, after Buffy's mom has died in the TV series. So it's Buffy trying to take care of her younger sister Dawn, dealing with bills and all the things, that her mother took care of. Meanwhile, Anya and Xander, who are still engaged at this point, are sort of trapped in their house by ants. They're fighting ants. And Spike, who is not evil at this point, doesn't have a soul yet, but he's got the chip that's keeping him a good guy. He discovers little tiny monsters. I don't know if they're They might, I don't know the exact size, but tiny monsters roaming around the park. So, amongst all this other stuff going on, Buffy and the Scoobies and Spike have to fight these monsters. Very short, just over 200 pages. I think it was pretty fun. I like Spike, generally speaking. So if he's featured, it's always a good time. I like Anya too. I like the whole Buffy gang for the most part. So that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Little Things by Rebecca Moesta. And then I went to the wrong page. Let's see. So this thing that I wrote down, I don't even know where the hell it is. All the way at the end of the next year? No. So I read a book, and I went to write it in here, and somehow completely went to the wrong page and wrote it down at the end of December 2002. But so it's crossed off. It looks terrible. It offends mine eyes. But I don't have any whiteout or anything, so I have to live with it. But I don't know where the hell I did write it in the right spot. I just don't know where the hell the right spot is. I swear I read that book. Yeah, we'll find out eventually. All right, you don't need to watch me sitting here looking at my stupid 3-ring binder with, yeah, there you can see it's crossed out. Nasty looking. All right, question for this video, since that's all the books that I read. Simpsons, you a fan? Were you a fan? Are you still a fan? What do you think about The Simpsons? I was a fan back in the day. My favorites have always been the Treehouse of Terror. Loved them. The first, I don't know how many seasons that they did that. Eventually they started, they felt they were running out of horror stories to do, and it started doing more mainstream science fiction-y things. But those early years were fantastic. And even the early years of The Simpsons, it was something new. It was funny. I've watched some recent episodes here and there. Just, it was on and doesn't grab me as much. I still like Family Guy. But I was a fan. Obviously, I was reading stuff about The Simpsons. And it's still on, right? Still going. It beat out, Gunsmoke for the most episodes of a non-soap opera TV show, or basically I think it's a primetime TV show. But yeah, I thought it was a good show. What do you think? Did you ever enjoy it? If you did, do you still enjoy it? Do you like the Treehouse of Horror episodes, or do you prefer just watching normal episodes? Let me know all your Simpsons thoughts in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. So if you want to know the twist in the plantation, we can talk about it, as long as there's spoiler warnings. Please like, share, and subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. And if you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, fuzzy animals, is EricSmith5757. And my Blue Sky is @ELSmith. That is all I have for you this week. So until next week, read more books.